What happens when America's sweetheart meets morning television's toughest interviewer, and the conversation takes a shocking turn that nobody saw coming? The Today Show studio became a battlefield when Carrie Underwood sat down with Hoda for what was supposed to be a routine promotional interview, but instead turned into one of the most explosive moments in morning television history. The morning started like any other at the Today Show studios. Carrie Underwood arrived early, calm and professional, prepared to talk about her upcoming tour. Her team had assured her this would be a simple, friendly segment. After years of media appearances, this felt like just another stop on a packed schedule. Hoda, known for her warm energy and relaxed interview style, was set to host the segment. Still, from the moment Carrie walked into the studio, something felt slightly off. The casual pre-interview conversation felt tense, even if neither woman mentioned it. Carrie adjusted her blazer and took a breath as the cameras prepared to roll. The countdown began, and suddenly they were live in front of millions of viewers. Hoda smiled and opened warmly, welcoming Carrie and thanking her for being there. Carrie responded politely, though her smile felt a little tight. Everything appeared normal at first, as Hoda mentioned the tour and fans' excitement. Then the tone changed. Hoda shifted the conversation toward recent headlines and rumors about Carrie's personal life. She asked how Carrie handled speculation surrounding her marriage. There was a visible change in Carrie's posture. She answered calmly at first, stating that she preferred to keep her personal life private and wanted to focus on her music and professional projects. Hoda nodded, but she didn't stop. She pushed further, suggesting that fans deserve transparency because they felt emotionally invested in Carrie's life. Carrie's voice became firmer. She explained that there was a clear line between sharing art and allowing private life to be publicly dissected. The tension in the studio could already be felt. Hoda leaned in, referencing how Carrie's songs often explore real emotions and difficult relationships. She implied that people assumed these songs reflected real experiences. Carrie tightened her jaw and explained that songwriting involves storytelling, and not every song reflects her real life. The conversation, which had started politely, was now turning sharp and uncomfortable, and the audience could sense something serious was about to unfold. Hoda didn't let up. She brought up Carrie's public image, reminding viewers of how she rose to fame as a small-town girl with strong values. She questioned whether that authenticity extended into Carrie's private life. Carrie shifted slightly in her chair, fighting to remain composed. She explained that authenticity did not mean living without personal boundaries, and that she had every right to protect parts of her life from public view. Hoda, however, pressed further. She referenced Carrie's recent social media posts about honesty and trust in relationships. She asked if those posts were general thoughts or personal experiences. Carrie's eyes flashed with frustration. She accused Hoda of overanalyzing her online posts, pointing out that this was not what the interview was supposed to be about. Hoda responded by saying the audience had been asking these very questions. She claimed viewers had written in, wanting answers. Carrie's voice sharpened. She pointed out that she had been told the interview would focus on her music and tour, not tabloid rumors. She called the moment an ambush. Hoda pushed back, stating that these were standard questions for a public figure. She added that if Carrie couldn't handle basic questions, then she shouldn't be doing interviews. The words hung heavily in the air. Carrie stared at her, clearly stunned. The atmosphere shifted. It was no longer a friendly conversation. It was a standoff. Carrie asked Hoda directly if she was suggesting that she couldn't handle questions. Hoda defended herself by saying public figures must expect scrutiny. Carrie shot back, explaining that scrutiny and deception were very different things. She accused the show of misleading her and using her private life for entertainment. Hoda claimed she understood what it was like to live under public pressure. She mentioned her own long career and experiences. Carrie replied that the difference was she didn't monetize her personal life in the way Hoda was implying. The tension in the studio was now unmistakable. Crew members exchanged nervous looks as the exchange became more heated. Both women seemed to forget they were live on air. Their professional masks began to crack as the conversation turned personal. The question was no longer about a tour or even rumors. It had become a debate about privacy, integrity, and respect. The argument intensified when Hoda suggested that Carrie's success came from selling authenticity. She claimed fans had the right to know whether Carrie lived the values she sang about. Carrie stood up slightly in her seat, clearly overwhelmed. She asked if Hoda was questioning her integrity. Hoda answered that she was questioning consistency. Carrie couldn't believe what she was hearing. She explained that wanting privacy was not hiding, but setting boundaries. Hoda responded by pointing out specific facts she claimed to have observed. Times Carrie was photographed without her wedding ring, her husband's absence from public events, and moments of tension captured by cameras. Carrie's face flushed with anger. She accused Hoda of treating her like a surveillance subject. She said it felt like she was being followed and monitored. Hoda defended herself, saying all information came from public sources and social media. Carrie shot back that this information was being twisted and weaponized against her in real time. The back and forth turned brutal. Carrie said her real fans understood the difference between art and private life. Hoda countered by saying many fans were genuinely concerned and curious. At one point, Hoda even compared it to grocery shopping habits potentially being newsworthy if they contradicted someone's public image. That comment hit Carrie hard. The studio fell silent. Carrie stood there, staring at Hoda, her expression shifting from rage to clarity. She calmly suggested that she now understood what the interview was really about. Hoda looked uneasy. Carrie said this wasn't journalism. It was a ratings stunt. She accused the show of trying to create a viral moment at her expense. Hoda denied it, saying she was simply doing her job. Carrie mocked the idea, asking if ambushing guests was now considered ethical journalism. Hoda insisted no one had misled her. Carrie responded that turning a tour interview into a tabloid interrogation was not standard practice. Their voices rose. Carrie accused Hoda of trying to manufacture controversy. Hoda snapped back that she wanted honest answers. The energy was volatile. It felt like the point of no return had been reached, and both women knew it. The final breaking point came when Hoda asked why Carrie was so defensive if she had nothing to hide. That question ignited everything. Carrie exploded, saying she shouldn't have to defend her marriage or private life to anyone. She accused the industry of treating fame like a contract that forces people to surrender their dignity. Hoda shot back that Carrie had chosen this life. Carrie replied that she chose to share her music, not have her personal relationships torn apart on live television. She accused Hoda of prioritizing drama over real journalism. Hoda defended herself by saying real journalism involved hard questions, not just easy promotional talks. Carrie countered that hard questions needed to be based on facts, not rumors. She called Hoda's approach gossip dressed up as news. The words left a mark. Hoda's face showed anger and defiance. She told Carrie that if she couldn't handle the heat, she shouldn't be in the kitchen. That was the moment Carrie made her decision. She calmly reached for her microphone and began to remove it. She stated clearly that this wasn't professionalism, but exploitation. Hoda asked where she was going and said they weren't finished. Carrie answered that they were finished. She placed the microphone down and said she refused to be ambushed on live television. Hoda accused her of being unprofessional and reminded her that her fans were watching. Carrie turned back one last time and said her fans would understand that standing up for yourself was not unprofessional. It was necessary. Hoda tried one last time to keep the confrontation going, accusing Carrie of running from accountability. Carrie responded that she was protecting her dignity. Then she walked off the set, leaving Hoda sitting alone in silence. The cameras continued rolling briefly. Hoda looked shaken and tried to address the audience, saying the interview hadn't gone as planned. When the broadcast cut to commercial, the studio fell into chaos. Producers scrambled, assistants whispered urgently, and Carrie had already left the building. Within minutes, clips of the confrontation began appearing across social media. Viewers debated whether Hoda had crossed a line or whether Carrie had overreacted. The only thing everyone agreed on was that this moment wouldn't be forgotten. It became one of the most talked about moments in morning TV, leaving a lasting question: who was really in the wrong?